Is there a line between, doing that next level of work to showcase your skills and doing the next level of work and the job without actually, finding the promotion and the advancement and the development? How do you think about that?
Yeah, such a great question. So I think women are often promoted on performance versus our male colleagues are promoted on potential. That's statistically proven.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for us to raise our hand and take those stretch opportunities and show that we can deliver. But I think there's also boundaries that you need to set when being asked to take on those stretch opportunities to say, this is amazing. I'm really excited about it. But how long will I do this in my current role before there is an expanded role or an expanded opportunity?
Let's be honest. When it comes to a thriving career, we're all still figuring it out. Welcome to the Still at Work podcast. On this show, we take questions about navigating the workplace and work them out together. I'm Kim Taylor, head of diversity, equity, and inclusion at Coursera, and I'm your host. Let's get to work. Our listeners have asked for conversations on career growth, mentorship, and coaching. However, our specific question today comes from a listener who would like to know how to improve their skills in order to move into a management role. So our goal is to touch on all of these career advancement related topics with today's guest, Cate Luzio. Cate is the founder and CEO of Luminary. It's a networking platform meant to propel women and allies forward through all phases of their professional journeys. Luminary has a physical space in New York that I would love to visit someday, and holds career advancement events both in person and virtually. Let's get started with a little bit more about Cate and her business.
I spent the better part of 2 decades in financial services before I launched Luminary, but that was not the path that I thought that I would take. I actually graduated with a degree in political science, started my career in nonprofit, and then pretty quickly went into, I'll call the private sector, and then ended up staying there for almost 20 years. At the same time as I was accelerating my path in my career on the side of my desk, I was running, sponsoring, leading all of the various women's networks within the 3 large banks that I worked at, and also was very focused on investing in the talent pipeline and mentoring others. And then in 2018, realized that I didn't want to just do it in finance. I didn't want to just do it at one bank. I wanted to do it more broadly for women and allies across all professional journeys, across all industries, entrepreneurs, et cetera. And so took all of those years in corporate America and all that experience and those transferable skills, and I wrote a business plan and realized I wanted to self-fund it, which I did, and launched Luminary in very early 2019.
I shared a little bit about Luminary at the top, but here it is in Cate's words.
We are a global professional education and networking platform for women and allies. So we're very clear that we're gender inclusive, and we always have been. Our niche is really that what we call the power middle. So those that are still navigating their paths, building their brands, building their companies, building their careers. And we started in that physical location here in New York City. Everything was done in person, all of these amazing workshops and courses and events in a physical location where you could also work and meet and gather. And then the pandemic hit. That really forced us in a positive way, looking back on it now, to go online. And we went online overnight. And that really accelerated our growth to no longer being able to reach women and allies in the New York metro area, working with both individuals and companies. It sort of opened up the geographical lens to have women and allies anywhere in the world.
Luminary's audience is primarily women. And I know you said open to allies as well, which I love. But why was it important to create this space? And what do you hope the community provides for women in particular?
So as a woman and building my career, and especially starting my career in tech and then in finance, I was surrounded by men. in particular white men, and many of them became phenomenal mentors and sponsors. But, like all of us, we didn't have some great experiences. And because I had these great experiences and opportunities with mentors and sponsors, I felt that it was important that we provide a platform for women to be able to be seen and heard and use their voice, but also identify and determine their own version of what success means to them, not letting a company or society or someone tell them this is what it means to succeed.
Learners, there's one more thing I forgot to tell you at the top of the show. Our question about career advancement comes from a veteran. So Cate's first piece of advice is to lean into your background. It makes you uniquely poised to succeed at your job. Back to Cate.
So number one, on the military side, I think the veterans and anyone who served, their skill set is so underestimated and undervalued in the corporate world.
I 100% agree.
I would hire a veteran any day of the week, whether I was a banker or in my life as the founder of Luminary. I think the skills, the discipline, leadership, teamwork, time management, all of those are transferable skills that anyone coming out of the military will likely have. Really tell the story about your leadership in your prior life that can translate and transfer into this new life, whether it's corporate America or whatever you want to do. I think the other piece is really have open dialogue with, if you're already working in this company and you're trying to level up and continue to climb that ladder, have that open dialogue with your manager about your aspirations, that you want to become a people leader. What are the things that you need to have for them in order to actually become that people leader? And you may get the feedback, you're not ready yet. Women often get this, you're not ready yet. One, show up as a leader every day. We can do that no matter what level or what role, if we're managing people or not. Show up as that leader every day, raise your hand, be visible, and keep your head up. Women and women of color are told to keep our heads down. Never listen to that. Be visible and be engaged, and show them why you deserve to be in that seat.
If today people are listening and they're like, okay, I'm a woman, I'm, mid-career, I want to know how to continue to grow and advance my professional career, what are the key competencies, focus areas that I need to think about when it comes to development and moving up the ladder?
So I think that's a personal question. I think, that's going to vary depending on the individual. And here I'll take the question two ways. One is for everyone listening out there. I think it's really important, and we do this at Luminary, we do this with a number of our enterprise partners, is do a career SWOT for yourself. So a SWOT is a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's a simple 4 quadrants. Identify for yourself what you perceive to be your strengths and your weaknesses. And when weaknesses, don't look at that as a negative. Those are always areas for development. What are those strengths and weaknesses that you have and or that you've heard from others, your prior bosses, colleagues, clients? Identify those and put them on a paper. Then I want you to take your opportunities and your threats are, I haven't been in the business long. I haven't, I don't have a lot of work experience in this area. I'm trying to pivot. I'm trying to become a people leader and I've never managed people. What are the threats or what's happening in the market? What's happening from technology? Do a quick career SWOT, and that will give you a visual, which I think is really important, to where your gaps are. But also, you may not recognize all of your strengths. Relationship management, interpersonal skills. Any career, any path, whether you want to move up or you want to stay where you are, you need those skills to be continued to navigate your path. 3 is really identifying, is this the right company? Is this the right culture? What are my priorities in my career? Not for the next 10 years. I don't like that 5-10 year outlook. Do 1 to 2 year increments. Like, where do I want to be in 1 to 2 years? And by the way, if you have a compensation number that you want to be making, put that down, right? And what's going to help you get there. But I think those skills, I think self-advocacy, Kim, is a huge missing skill for women and women of color.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, because it's a challenge.
Yeah, no, I think so. Self-advocacy is one that I think we all need. And I teach a course on this. We teach a course on this because when you look at what women want to accomplish, and again, generalizing here, but one of the biggest skills that's lacking is talking about ourselves and why we deserve something. Not why we need it, why we deserve it. And so build your business case, and building your business case for yourself around finding a mentor or getting that next promotion or getting that raise. You've got to build your business case as to the why. And if you can build that business case, you're also going to identify, again, those gaps. But when you are ready, you need to be vocal. We're great at advocating for everyone else. And it's so much easier to do that. But if we don't advocate for ourselves, we can't be the best advocates for others. And we want a role model. I'm very big on everyone's watching at all times. So role model the behavior you would want to see out of a great manager.
Yeah. So how do you feel about taking on stretch opportunities? So I'm in my current role and I'm doing well, and I feel like, I want to demonstrate that I'm ready for the next level. And there are opportunities to take on more projects, more assignments, so that I can showcase that. Is there a line between, doing that next level of work to showcase your skills and to prove that you're ready and to drive impact, and doing the next level of work and the job without actually, finding the promotion and the advancement and the development? How do you think about that?
Yeah, such a great question. So I think that, again, as women of color, we tend to sort of take on more because we are being asked to sort of prove ourselves. Women are often promoted on performance versus our male colleagues are promoted on potential. And that's statistically proven. So I think it's really important for us to raise our hand and take those stretch opportunities and different projects and show that we can deliver. But I think there's also boundaries that you need to set when being asked to take on those stretch opportunities, to say, this is amazing, I'm really excited about it, but how long will I do this in my current role before there is an expanded role or an expanded opportunity? My boss, one of my bosses, and also a great mentor and ultimately a sponsor of mine at JP Morgan, was king of giving stretch opportunities. And one, he needed the work done. Two, he was going to the people that he knew could get it done. But three, I think we set clear guidelines around, if I accomplish this, if I perform, if this goes well, what does it mean for me in my current role? How will that reflect in my compensation in year end or the following year? What is that path to promotion? So set out a roadmap and making sure if you're hitting these incredible milestones and you're doing the work, what does that mean for you?
You mentioned a few times, I think, in our conversation, a mentor or a sponsor, or someone who's, helped guide you, or how important that is. Why is mentorship so critical, particularly for women?
I think my approach to mentoring is any relationship that I have, I think there's a mentoring component of that, right? And so I never sought out mentors in finance. They sought me out mainly because of my performance, my reputation, that visibility I talked about earlier, my work ethic, my work product, so what I delivered every day and that performance. And if you're really feeling like you don't have a mentor in the company, talk to your manager and say, you can't be my mentor because you're my direct manager. Is there anyone in your network, Kim, that you could act as my mentor? I think there are also formal mentoring programs at lots of companies. I myself had done one of those at JP Morgan. I had a great mentor, but I think the chemistry and that organic nature does help mentorship so much. And then remember, there can be a long-term mentor and I have several of them. There can also be transactional mentors where you just may want a question answered. I see this a lot in entrepreneurship. You want to meet that founder that's like sort of done something. They don't have time to be everyone's mentor. Believe me, they're asked all the time. But if you've got that one burning question that you think can help you in your path, that's an example of like, hey, I got one question for you, Kim. I'm going to take 5 minutes of your time, or I can do it via email. Because you may not have that lifelong mentoring, but that one piece of information could be a transactional piece of mentoring that could help you tremendously. And so I get this all the time on LinkedIn. Can you be my mentor? It's like, I don't even know you. Well, it's very hard to mentor someone if you don't know them. And that's why I think you need to build it on relationships. And that's why I really gravitate to the peer mentorship conversation, because we totally undervalue peer mentoring. By the way, if you've got peers around you, whether you're a founder, whether you're sitting in a company, those people on your team, tap into them. They're going through the same thing you are. You can learn a lot. You can give each other advice. You never know where they've been. They may have come from a different company, vice versa. So really tap into those peers.
So we've advocated for ourselves. We've worked on our strengths. We've worked on our weaknesses, and we've received a promotion, and we move into this, next level. I was an individual contributor. Now I'm a people manager. Now what? Especially as women, what things do we need to adapt when stepping into that next role, especially a management role?
First of all, you can be in a leadership role or take a leadership approach in any role. It does not matter if you are an individual contributor, a people manager, whether you're the senior most person in the room or the most junior. You can take a leadership role. And I talk a lot about this, and it's about building influence. You can build influence no matter what stage of your career.
Okay, so I'm hearing that leadership starts even before people start calling you manager. And I couldn't agree more.
It is one thing to be an individual contributor and be at capacity, right? We're all at capacity. We have no time. There's so much going on in our lives. Then you take on, I'm now managing a team, whether that's a team of 2 or a team of 2,000. That adds so much complexity into our lives. Lots of people get into people manager roles and go, I hate this administration stuff. It takes so much time. I, meaning Cate, happen to love that aspect of the job. I love leading people. I knew that I wanted to be a people leader very early into my career. And so what I asked, and this is really important, I think, for anyone that's on that path, wants to lead people, or new at leading people, is you must continue to develop those skills as what I would call an operator, right? You want to create an environment for collaboration, for positive and open thinking, for idea generation, right? And that can lead to innovation, that leads to inclusion, that leads to trust.
Yeah. There's a course on Coursera called Super Bosses. I think you fit the bill, but it's about, the characteristics that make up great leaders, and that, the thing at the very top is that great leaders just constantly pump out other great leaders. Like they don't hold on to them. They find people, they mentor them, they sponsor them, they cultivate their skill set, they teach them, they let them go, and then they really let them go. A lot of times when we're having this conversation, maybe we're focused on the US or North America. And I think that you all are now in over 30 countries. What are some of the unique challenges that women face in leadership and in career development across various global markets?
So I have the benefit of running global businesses before Luminary in the banks that I worked at. So I had that incredible privilege and honor to travel to many of the countries. I manage people around the globe. And so I spent a lot of time with this, especially for women. So every time I would visit a client in another country or my team, I would also do a women's roundtable because I wanted to understand. What's interesting is the topics, the themes that continue to, that we need to focus on or that potentially hold us back are very similar. I think it's nuanced by culture. So if you're sitting in Saudi Arabia versus New York City, it's very nuanced around how you approach your male peers and your male bosses. It's very nuanced around communication style, The same in India, the same in China. I think culturally also you have to understand what and how women are looked at in those societies. And remember that Cate Luzio, can't come in and just tell these women, just go into your boss's office and tell him you demand a raise. That's just not. So you have to really know your audience. And that starts inside companies too, and changing and shifting cultures. And I can tell you, I spent a lot of time in the Middle East when I was based in London for 7 years, a lot of time. And the cultural shift that I saw over the course of 5 or 6 years to the cultural shift now that's happened, it's dramatic. So it is happening. And you just have to be, I think, for a global company like a Coursera, now Luminary with members in more than 30 countries, you have to listen, you have to be aware, and it's not always your way. You've got to make sure that it is, there's a balance.
I always ask this of my guests: if there's one thing that you want our listeners to walk away from this episode, knowing, remembering, taking away from our discussion, what is it?
Be confident in your abilities, right? It goes back to that original question from the veteran, and thank you for your service to this country. We need more. Is be confident in your abilities. Be confident in the skills that you've built, and be confident in that you can continue to develop those skills and hone those skills and invest in skills that you don't have. But let's lean into all of the things that we bring to the table. Forget imposter syndrome. If you're in the role, you're in the role for a reason. Then perform in that role and excel in that role. And always, always, always bet on yourself.
I love it. Thank you so much, Cate. It has been a pleasure. I feel like we could continue talking for another hour, but we've got to stop. So I want our listeners to check you out, check Luminary out, and I think that's a wrap for today.
Thanks, Kim.
Okay, Cate definitely stole my top takeaway, but here's what I want to emphasize about this conversation. If you want to lead people, it starts right now. Start practicing, building influence, and considering your strengths, as well as where you need to improve. Find those long-term mentors, short-term mentors, and peer mentors. Have them advocate for you, but don't forget to advocate for yourself. Much of Cate's advice today has been geared towards women, but that doesn't mean everyone can't follow it. And of course, don't forget, we're all still at work. I can't wait to hear how you all use Cate's wisdom to grow and advance. Thank you all so much for joining me on this episode of Still at Work, and thank you so much to Cate for a fantastic conversation. Do you have questions about how to navigate your workplace and everything that goes along with that? We can help. Go to the form in our show description to submit your question. While you're there, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Still at Work, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also rate and leave our show a review to help others find us. That's it for today's episode. We'll see you soon. Views and opinions expressed during the podcast are those of the individuals expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of Coursera or Human Group Media.